Got out with spring ball, and I was working on my own. My legs started hurting. And, being a football player, I just thought as a little knot, something like that, go in the training room. Cool. And I was actually doing an internship with Chick-fil-A at the time. So we had flown around and things like that. Everything was fine. I just had a little pain in my leg. And once that was over, I flew back to Notre Dame to see one of my friends graduate. And on that plane ride, I started losing breath, things like that, and coughing up blood. And that's essentially when it started. That day when I landed, I went to the hospital at 3 a.m. by myself because my friends are graduating, so they dropped me off. Doc said I shouldn't be alive. He looked at me straight up and said, "I don't know how you're breathing." He said I'll probably never play football again. And I'm just sitting there by myself in that dark room, just thinking like, wow, I'm coming here to see some old friends and try to do the right thing. And something got taken away from me, but got through that. Everything worked out. And summer-wise, first month and a half, I'm just out here, encouraging the guys, watching, trying to stay positive. Working out at the apartment gym by myself because I'm not supposed to be, but keeping the lungs up and things like that. So each week it just kind of got more and more and more. And then camp came around. I also couldn't do camp just because I was on the back end of that, and that was hard. Seeing the guys out there balling, and I just couldn't, physically couldn't do it, whether I wanted to or not. So that was rough. But that Tuesday before the first game, I was cleared, and something that allowed me to be able to play so fast was, staying locked in, staying engaged, taking notes, doing everything I would do like I was practicing. And so that just allowed me to be where I'm at today.
It was diagnosed and went through the right protocols to get him healthy. And fortunately for him and for us from a football standpoint, it was the best case scenario when it comes to blood clots. And I think the minimum amount of time, he was one of those percentages that fit into that category. And then between his own mindset and his family's, what he wanted to do, he was very aggressive and wanting to come back sooner rather than later. And then our medical team, they worked together and put together a game plan, and that was all based on him meeting his certain margins along the way and things of that nature. But to his credit, he stayed active in all the right ways on his own and did what he could between push-ups and things like that. I don't probably know the half of it, but he stayed fresh, and so he was at every walkthrough or practice and things of that nature to be around his teammates, and so I think all those things helped him from a transition standpoint, getting back into the flow of things where it didn't take him as long as it potentially could have.
I wouldn't say it changed him as a player. It made me take a moment a little bit more each game to really appreciate where I'm at, but it also allowed me to know I can, go as hard as I possibly can each play, because at the end of the day, that rarely could be your last play. Like I did not know, it didn't cross my mind that I'd get a blood clot at 23 years old or anything like that. That didn't even occur to me. That's why I thought it was a little short of breath. I thought I had to work out. I was actually running with Drake. When I first started, I was running with Drake Stoops out here conditioning, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like, oh, I'm out of shape. I'm out of shape. So that caused, some other problems because I went so hard through a blood clot. But at the end of the day, it just shows that, no matter what happens, like, it's all going to work towards the good. It changes everything. I think college football players sometimes might take for granted what they get with all the glim and the glam and, things like that. But just having the game almost taken away from you in a sense that you can't control, it makes you appreciate, the hard practices, the hard lives, the days where you're here for 12 hours a day just because you can't do it. And if you are here doing it, you're not a part of it. So it was really made me appreciate the little things, especially, during that time of the summer when I couldn't, get in there with the guys and grind it out. So that's what I would say.